One of my top priorities for today is to get the rest of my fruit plants in the ground, mainly my elderberries. My elderberries started as a tiny little stick and they've rooted well in these pots, but it's time to really get them in the ground so that they can establish and really produce. These pots were flat pack and make getting out a mature plant easy, but they also let the grass seed in everywhere, which means I got a lot of weeds to pull out. This is where I had my blackberries last year, but I've removed the thorn varieties and planted thornless along the back fence. I am all done being stabbed when harvesting. Elderberries root readily and are fairly easy to establish, but you will need 2 varieties that flower at the same time so they can cross-pollinate or you will never get any fruit. Any reputable nursery should be able to help you. Because elderberries root super easily, I'm not stressing over having the perfect hole. Good enough. I've been building my soil over the past few years, but I still have fairly heavy clay. I'm really focusing on working the soil in around the roots, trying to ensure that there are no air gaps. All plants settle, and this part of my yard floods after heavy rains. So I'm planting it a bit high to prevent root rot. Chickpeas! These are just from the grocery store. When they soak, they double in size and they tend to get a bit jammed at the bottom, so I'm trying to make a little room. Planting soaked chickpeas is supposed to make germination faster, but I found it just leads to more rot. I'm planning on using the greenery in my bouquets. They have kind of a fern-like texture and they're pretty versatile when working with flowers. They prefer more moderate weather, so they are a little bit tricky here in Texas, so I may not get a good amount of peas, but they should still produce good greenery. Nasturtiums. I'm planting these with my leeks and potatoes as companion plants. They produce beautiful flowers and leaves, all of which are edible. They have a peppery flavor similar to a radish and make salads beautiful and flavorful. The seeds are a great replacement for capers. They are supposed to help keep pests in check, but I haven't found a noticeable difference in the past few years. Still, they're beautiful and help bring in the pollinators. Carrots. I'm preparing this bed for carrots. This means going through and thoroughly removing all the weeds and ensuring the soil is nice and loose. This bed is 3 feet by about 15 and took just under an hour to plant. Since I'm a bit late sowing my carrots, I am sowing the whole bed at once instead of in succession planting. This does mean I'm going to get a big harvest all at once, but it's the end of the window, so it was now or never. Carrot seeds are fairly small and need to be sown thin. I find the easiest way is just to make a shallow row right where my drip system will be. This ensures they will be well watered, which improves germination, produces sweeter carrots, and makes maintenance easy. Done! Tomatoes! We have passed our average last frost date, so it's fairly safe to plant. But I started double the tomatoes I need so I could plant now and have backups in case we get a crazy late freeze, hailstorm, tornado, or some other anomaly that ruins my garden. As always, I tip the pot over and push the plant out. Never tug on the stem of your plant. We've got good white healthy roots. Tomatoes make roots all along their stem, so I'm removing the lower leaves and planting deeply.
I'm growing the tomatoes over these trellises. I'm putting varieties that make large tomatoes on the southern end where they'll get more sun, and smaller cherry tomato varieties on the north side where they get a little less sun. This is a 15-foot bed and I planted 10 tomatoes and tomatillos. They are spaced about 18 inches apart. I'll be filling in with basil and marigolds. Ginger.
All right, we got some roots. We're gonna get it in some soil. So let's get it in a pot.
Cover it with soil. That's it.
Keeping it simple.
This week's garden chores. I'm topping up all my pots with well-draining potting mix. I'm using mainly large pine nuggets on my citrus trees. Citrus are heavy feeders, so a good slow-release fertilizer mixed in the top of the soil will make a big difference in fruit production. I use Citratone, and for these large 25-gallon pots, I use a few tablespoons. I built these arches using zip ties, and the zip ties have started to wear away. I'm replacing those and repairing it with just some galvanized wire. A couple of twists, and I should be right as rain.